was 1999, and I had a driver's license and a skateboard. And not too far away from the town that I live in resided an abandoned water park. But not just any water park, mind you, boys and girls. This water park contained only water slides, and it was abandoned. And so me and my friends would drive out to the abandoned water slide park and would grab skateboards and race each other on skateboards down the water slides at a landmark once known to St. Louis as Wet Willie's. And it was as much fun as you can have as a teenager until the police showed up. At which point you would then kind of shuffle down the cliff edge that it was on and hide behind a billboard and wait for the police to leave, and then skateboard again and hope that they didn't get called back because they didn't find you the first time. And that is a story of rebellious youth, fun being had by a skateboard, and a little bit of St. Louis trivia before the turn of the new century. Wow, what a crazy sentence.
Oh, TJ, we went live.
We did indeed.
We did. What a suiting story for episode 160 of Sawdust Talk, because tonight we are joined with Joe and Kemp, who are going to be very new to our community of friends, and we're excited to talk with them. Before we get started, though, TJ is going to run through our sponsors real quick, and then we will get to the show.
All right. As all the listeners of this show know, we start every episode thanking Hannah and the team over at Surf Prep Sanding Systems. You have a lot of choices for ways to make your wood as smooth as possible, but let me tell you, if you want the finest finish and the least hand fatigue and the best dust collection, truly go take a look over at surfprep.com. Do a little shopping, get your hands on their tools, and if you want to save a little money, we have a coupon code Sawdust Talk, and we get a little bit of a kickback from that. So please and thank you. Go check them out over there. We also have merchandise available over at kcbombshell.com. If you would like to wrap your body in the finest threads, adorned with the logo, behold, of our show, go to kcbombshell.com, get yourself some merch. And if you like sort of tattoo flash and nerd culture inspired scroll art, go check out Layla's work. It's there too. We are 2.5 weeks into June and the spring maker rally. Let's call it a rally this week for Makers for St. Jude. Makers for St. Jude partners with St. Jude Children's Charities to fight childhood cancer, and we have people from the maker community raffle off either extra goods or goods made in particular for these pledge drives, and all of the money from the raffle ticket sales goes directly to St. Jude, and then the makers send the goods to the raffle prize winners. Last year we raised $40,000, and this year our goal is $50,000. Did I get that right, Jess?
20,000, just 40,000 total. For
40,000 for the years up until this year. That's it.
Yes.
And so the goal is to hit $50,000 raised this year. If you want to get involved, get a hold of me, get a hold of Jessie, or get a hold of Mike over at Woodworker versus Cancer or Makers for St. Jude on Instagram. We will get you pointed in the right direction. We'll help you set up the website. There's a lot of hand-holding available. So if you want to get involved and have the cool things that you make do cool things for people who need help, reach out and get involved. And lastly, there is a Patreon for Sawdust Talk for as little as $5 a week. The cost of 3 large fries from a fast food drive-in, you could help get Jessie and I to the maker events that we're trying to get to every year. So you can check us out at Patreon/Sawdust Talk.
Yes, sir. And now we will switch over and we will talk to Joe and Kemp, and we will get into how these fellows ended up on Sawdust Talk in a little bit. But first of all, Joe, Kemp, can you each take a moment and just kind of introduce yourself? Who are you? How did you get into making the maker community? And like, what kind of stuff do you do?
All right. Shall I go first?
Yeah, go first.
I'm Joe Moore. I have always been a maker, and when all my life just tinkering and just making stuff and breaking stuff and fixing things. And when I went to school to be an education and an art major, and my first teaching job was at a school in Chicago for kids with autism. And we had this classroom next to mine that was completely empty. So I brought in some woodworking stuff for my classroom, or for my students. And we started doing a lot of just random woodworking. Just, I felt like it was a great way for them to release some energy, be creative, learn some skills, work on fine motor and gross motor things. And then fast forward X amount of years, and I'm continuing to I'm a cartoonist by trade and illustrator. My wife and I taught overseas, and then we came back here, and I'm from Chicago, but she's from St. Louis, and we came back to St. Louis. And there was a school that I currently teach at. It's an elementary school, and I taught elementary school for a while as well, that had a woodworking program, which back in the 50s, 60s, before the 80s, basically, most elementary schools had woodshop programs, which is crazy to think of now because hardly any do. Really, if you try to do a Google search, which I've done a number of times, I can find maybe 8 schools that have a woodshop program. Our school in St. Louis Community School being one of them. And so I applied for this position to be the woodshop teacher, and I got it because I have a teaching background and also a woodshop background from when I started that woodshop program at my school in Chicago. So basically it's a lifelong love of art and making and creating, and now teaching woodshop. I've been at this school for 11 years, and I get to teach kids from kindergarten through 6th grade. I give kids like TJ's son a saw, and he is 6. So it's a great combination of my passions, like making and woodworking and teaching little kids. It is glorious. I feel like I didn't answer.
You don't let me use the saw.
Yeah, no.
Bullshit.
It's not chronological age. It's mental age.
Yeah. Okay.
You're still 3. We'll probably get into more things. I feel like I jumped around, but go ahead, Kemp. Give us your background.
I have a crazy background, but we met at community school. I was a 3rd grade homeroom teacher. My mother had taught there for 28 years. And after being in marketing for 5-6 years after college, I gave teaching a try. So I taught there for about 10 years with Joe. Again, I'd hang out in the makerspace and wouldn't let me touch any of the tools. But
he could watch me do it.
And now, randomly, I'm back to one of the things I love to do as well is I'm producing events. So I guess you could say I'm making experiential events for my clients are Pernod Ricard and Audi automobiles. But so now I'm traveling, all across the U.S. doing events. But I miss my days as a teacher, miss working with this guy. But I'm happy we get to make skateboards together. So that's just a passion of mine is this product we've got.
So let's get into that.
Yeah.
Tell us about worm boards. Where did this come from?
So it was born out of being a woodworker. So my cartooning career has mostly been environmental cartoons, and I am a lover of trees in every way, shape, and form. And so as a environmentalist and woodworker, I really try to focus on finding wood that's been either sustainably harvested or just downed trees, or finding my own wood and drying it myself and using that wood. But the worm board, so every year, this is my 10th year of doing a skateboarding camp at my school. So I get, we used to press our own decks, pump, I totally forget the name
vacuum
of it. Yeah, the
pump.
Vacuum press. But then when you have 20 kids making a skateboard and you have 3 of those, like glue ups where you're pumping and gluing it up. Like you couldn't do it in a week. So my camp is basically from 3 hours a day for 5 days. So I had to outsource the uncut decks, and there was a bunch of people doing it. Santa Cruz did it for us for a while. And then Madrid Skateboards does it for us now. And
sorry to interrupt. What was that skateboard you had in '99? You said you were.
It was an Element.
Element?
So yeah, I had an Element and an Enjoy. Were the two that I had. I had a Christian Hosoi.
Oh,
and an
yeah.
Enjoy
Christian
board, so.
Hosoi, yes.
So cool.
He was my favorite growing up. So anyway, so we get these big, we have the image somewhere, but we get these big uncut decks. And 1 year early on, like in the first or second year, a kid wants to make a little wooden penny board. So out of his big rectangle, he's using like a fifth of the board. And so we have this whole side of the board that's been unused. And I mean, TJ, I think you've been in the wood shop a number of times. Like we have a scrap wood bin. So like anytime any kid is done cutting wood for their project, any wood that's not project related goes in the scrap wood bin so that it could be reused into other projects later by other kids. I couldn't stand to see all of this awesome deck wood go to waste. So I cut the thin strip that was left. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, I'm going to throw some trucks and some wheels on that and see what it's like to ride it. Like, I don't know, like growing up being a maker and you know, a bit of a skater kid. I wasn't a huge skater growing up, but I always liked to travel by skateboard. I used to throw wheels. Like I used to take my trucks and wheels off of things and put them on other things and see if I could ride it. Didn't always end well, but putting it on this thin strip of wood, it was like super fun to ride. And I remember I came home from that camp when I made the first worm board. I don't know why I keep doing air quotes. And I told my wife, I'm like, I think I have something here, but I have no time or desire to do anything about it except for ride it. Like the first worm board that I made at this skateboard camp from this extra wood, I rode for about a year. And Kemp came, and this is the place we're in right now is my maker space. We call it the Ping Pongery. It's a bar / ping pong table / wood shop. And he saw my first worm board hanging on the wall. He's like, what the heck is that? And I explained it to him. And he said, oh, we're starting a business. Like, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Like his old skateboard from the 80s is hanging up on the Ping Pongery wall right here. You can't see it. It's an old Vision. Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, he was fancy.
Take that down?
Yeah. But
yeah,
we might be able to take it down. Anyway.
Got a freaking gator board he's going to take down off the wall.
But he hadn't really skateboarded since like the 90s. And so he took the worm board, rode it around, took it back to his town, which is near my town, and which is also TJ's town. And he's like, this is awesome. We're starting a company. And I have maker background and creative background. Kemp is also super creative, but has marketing background. So I'm like, all right, if you want to do it, we'll do it. And so we started Wormboards.
I mean, true story. It was 1993. Pretty much I, hadn't touched a board and didn't know if I could even stand up on one, and, hopped up on the worm board, and it was so fun and easy to ride. And just during the COVID year, took my kids out almost every day, got pretty good at it. So it was, love at first sight with the worm board. And well, actually the second one's hanging, but so they're skinnier, as Joe was saying, using about a third of the.
Well, exactly half.
Yeah.
So this is 4 1/4 inch width. Yeah. It's the same length as a normal skateboard. It looks longer than a normal skateboard just because it's so skinny, but it's half the width of a normal skateboard. So I like to say we use half the wood of a normal skateboard, and then we also plant. You thought I was going to go. I saw your face, TJ. You thought I was going to say something different.
Wait, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say we use half the wood of a normal skateboard, and we also plant a tree every time you buy a worm board, so a tree can grow, and we can make new worm boards. But it's super fun to ride, because if you're going to skateboard if you're not in the middle of the skateboard, you're going to have a hard time. If you're kicking and you're standing a little far to your kick side, you're going to go into yourself. Away, you're just going to spread out and eventually do the splits. You can only be in the middle on a worm board because that's all there is. And you can, like, I'm a snowboarder and I don't do tricks anymore for snowboarding or skateboarding. It's such a great cruiser ride. And I don't
Thicker
ever
wheels.
Yeah, it's like cruiser wheels. I don't ever want to like harsh on anyone's mellow, but I don't understand. And maybe this is because I'm an environmentalist. Like, I don't understand the longboard revolution. And maybe it's not a revolution anymore, but maybe like 5 or 10 years ago. I just think it's such a, and I apologize for any longboarders who are listening.
Yeah. Choose your words carefully.
I just think like it's such an amount of wood. It's basically like a surfboard with wheels, which is not convenient to take anywhere. And it seems to be a waste of wood because no matter what you're doing on a skateboard, like anything I've done on a skateboard in my life has always been the exact same thing. I'm kicking and trying to go fast. So if I can do it on a board that uses less wood and it's easier to carry, like I can put my hand around it. We drilled holes in the head, the nose and tail, so you can lock it up at the bike lock. So like we'll skateboard to the bar and lock it up outside the bar. It's just so much more. Like I just feel like there's so much superfluous. I mean, obviously we know this as consumers and living in society today. Like there's so much waste. And we're trying to make something that's fun that doesn't have much waste.
Yeah. I think it's novel also. You guys have those big cruiser wheels on it. And if you put a wider longboard style truck on there, you're still not going to get wheel bite because your board's narrow too. I mean, I bet you can carve the hoobie out of that thing.
Right.
Yeah. Call it the convenient cruiser.
So when did you get boards actually start? Like when did you guys launch the worm board?
So unofficially it started about 5 or so years ago. Like we were just making them ourselves. So we'd get together like once a week or so, once every 2 weeks. And we would do it all, like all the glue ups, all the cutting, everything. And then we realized that was with the idea that we were going to start a skateboard company. And then we realized like we're getting together, we're hanging out, we're very close friends and we're having fun and we're making like one skateboard a month. That's not a great business model.
Yeah. And also we were trying to save wood and we find ourselves like buying raw decks and then, cutting out the middle. And like, that was kind of defeating the purpose.
Well, we started off like buying raw decks, like buying raw, like concave decks from Santa Cruz, originally from Santa Cruz. And we would just cut it down the middle. And so you would have the concave of a normal deck. So you would be on, remember the original decks? Like on one side, the first worm board was like this, like it was like angled, like lengthwise, it was angled. And then the other half of the deck was angled the other way. So it was like, well, I guess we can sell all of these decks to regular footers and these decks to goofy footers. We were just trying to
that was thinking.
That was our original idea. And then we're like, or we could just start pressing them ourselves. So I have actually everything is up in the rafters, but like I have the press that we made where we were pressing them ourselves. And then finally Kemp started making, so I had a relationship with Santa Cruz, and Santa Cruz at the time was making their skateboards in the US. And so we're like, all right, so I had a good relationship with them for my skateboard camp. So I'm like, all right, we'll use Santa Cruz and they'll make our worm boards. And Santa Cruz at that time moved overseas.
Yeah.
And so Kemp started calling around all the US made skateboard companies. And so,
I mean, this is a really cool story. We just cold called Madrid, and they're based out of Huntington Beach, California, where skateboarding started. And they got back to us right away. They thought this is the, coolest thing.
Did they say it was the coolest thing?
That's what they said.
Guys, this is the coolest thing.
Yes.
Congratulations, guys. You have the coolest thing.
That's what they say in Huntington Beach. This is the coolest thing. And, this is the skateboard company that Marty McFly rode in Back to the Future. This is the Madrid skateboard. They recently did a collab with Stranger Things, for the 80s style skateboards. And this is one of the last and oldest skateboard companies that still make the boards in America. And we thought, how cool is it to be with them? Craig is our contact there. He calls us almost weekly. So we buy all of our press wood from there, all of our trucks and wheels. So
and bearings.
Yeah. And grip tape, everything comes from Madrid. About 90% of it's all made in America, which is really cool. Yeah. But so what Joe was talking about with the concave, we were able to get a board without a concave. They pressed, basically.
They made a worm board press.
They made a worm board press, about 2 boards in one.
Because they have already the wood the size of a normal deck wood, like all the plies that they're pressing their normal decks with. They did it again. And then they, just split them up after they press without the concave. So we've got a template in Huntington Beach in the Madrid factory, right up there with Marty McFly's board and some all
other
the other skateboards. So they were making Visions back, like Vision wasn't making their own skateboards. In the 80s, Madrid was making a lot of those early skate companies. Madrid was making all of their skateboards. So it's been around. Like it's cool to work with Craig because Craig's older than us, and Craig's been around since the beginning.
Yeah,
and he has
we'll show you
stories.
Show you some of the designs. They also do all the heat press. You'll have to name. This is a pop quiz. Which one's this?
This is the Toots. So we named these after some of our favorite reggae singers. This is.
Wait, this is my turn.
Oh, sorry.
This is Nancy.
For Sister Nancy.
Oh yeah, is that because it's bum beat 'em bum bum?
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
This sounds like a reggae name, but this is the Bone. So Kemp and I used to be in a band, or we're still in a band.
Yeah.
But Bone was a guitarist in our band, and he passed away. So we named one of our decks after Bone, which was actually his last name. His name was Jim Bone. And then the other one, which is our namesake deck, our theme song for Wormboards is "Take It Easy" by Hopton Lewis, which is one of the great reggae ska singers, and this is the Hopton. This is our namesake board.
But we started out doing more natural stain. This is just
this is one of our original handmades.
A black stain where we do walnuts, other like cherry design and custom boards. Anyone wants a skateboard with their name on it or grip tape with their name, we do it all. We've done.
Ooh, show the Clementines one.
Yeah, so we have done a few partnerships around town, which is really cool. We did a collaboration with Clementines in St. Louis. This is an ice cream company, and we had our boards were in their stores for about a month or two.
Last summer.
Yeah, people would come in and they raffled to win a worm board, but also we had like 3 designs in each store and still for sale on our website. So these are really cool.
There's really they came up with their head of marketing for Clementines was the drummer in our band, and he's an insane artist. And so this is one that we mocked up. The ones that he made are amazing. Those skateboards, and they're on our website. Those skateboards are so cool. And then when we first launched, back to your original question, Jesse. So we
just before.
When did you guys?
It's red. Started? Favorite color is red.
So then, when we started, to decide, all right, we can't just get together and have some beers and make one skateboard a month and call it a business. So we were like, all right, so we got this relationship with Madrid Skateboards, and so we launched on Go Skateboarding Day, which is coming up this Saturday, 2 years ago. And so that was our soft launch, and our hard launch. Our hard launch was, I'm going to sit on my hand. Our hard launch was Evolution Fest.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we had a merch tent in Evolution Fest. We had some friends that worked there, and so we got in relatively inexpensively. And
we find the best way to sell our boards is, going to a festival or sort of like a Saturday morning,
farmers market,
and just talk to people because they want to hold the board. They fall in love with it right away. You're just looking at them online. You don't really know what you're looking at. And like, we want people to experience it and, ride it home. So it's been great.
Yeah. So Evolution Fest was the official launch. And that was the original Evolution Fest 2 years ago, which for any listeners who aren't familiar, it's a big music fest in St. Louis that's 2 years old now with the likes of, like great acts like
Black Crowes.
I was going to say Jane's Addiction, but they backed out last year right before they were supposed to play. Beck, Billy Idol, or Billy Idol backed out too, didn't he?
No, he played. He was
Ben
great.
Harper, Ice Cube. I mean, great music fest. So like those are that's our demographic, like that group of people. Like we sold skateboards to a bunch of people that have never seen a worm board before because it's never existed before. So nobody was like, I don't understand. Everyone's like, that looks cool. I want one. So it's been, whenever we're in front of humans, it's been awesome. The problem is Kemp and I both have full-time jobs and we actually, I'm also, so I have like multiple jobs that we don't have as much time to give to worm boards as we would like to give. But whenever we do get in front of people, we're just energized and re-energized about like, we do have something here. Like I told my wife years ago, like, I think I have something here. So I think I think it's good.
Yeah. No, I love
that was one question I was going to ask was like, where do you find these? Obviously the website sounds like a good spot, but is it mostly just events like that? Or do you guys have like pop-up shops where you sell in local businesses? Like, are you going statewide, out of state? Where's this headed?
It's a great question. That's why we hooked up with Madrid because, we can sell these now in like mass volume. So we, right now we're online and selling through Instagram and Facebook, but trying to get, into some stores. Selling in stores are tough because you have to sell it wholesale and then they have to make money too. So,
and our margins being a small company aren't great yet.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I think once we get to a certain volume, close to like 1,000 boards, that would be 1,000 boards a year. We'd start putting them in stores. So I think for right now, we're looking at, festivals online, but also Madrid's got some conventions around California that they, tell us we need to get into. And that's
we
something
do sell here in St. Louis at Urban Chestnut.
Yeah.
That's
sorry.
There are there are Evolution Fest partners. So when we last year when we sold at Evolution Fest, instead of going in the merch tent, we partnered with Urban Chestnut Brewing Company to sell our skateboards.
Open to a Bluewood collab for sure.
Oh yeah, no, we got to get you guys on our merch table.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw the Charlie's Itch can that I posted today. That artwork is crazy.
Oh no, yeah. It's a great way to show artwork. We had this idea of like the beer coaster, just something in a college town or, surf town, like something you can hop on to head to the convenience store and make a beer run. So
yeah, that's the beautiful thing though, TJ, so we have the ability now through one of Kemp's connections to make custom boards. So when we make the Clementine's boards and the Urban Chestnut boards, we don't have to so our original, those 4 designs that we showed you, we bought X amount of boards through Madrid and we could have X amount of designs. So what we could afford was 4 designs at this many boards, but Kemp now so we have a bunch of blank boards as well. And Kemp has a connection now in St. Louis where we can make custom boards. So we made custom Clementine's boards and Urban Chestnut boards. We've made custom boards for people that I want my kid's name on it, or we made it for a local handyman who wanted his handyman business on it. But to put the artwork from a can, like just taking the digital file from the artwork of any design we can put on the worm board, which is really like next level for us. So
Yeah, I can dig it, man.
yeah.
That's so awesome. So, what do you think the future of Wormboard's projects looks like? Are you guys going to expand to wider trucks, different wheelbase? What do you guys see?
I want to put it out there right now. Like Joe created a comp of a Voltron board.
Oh, you're in the right city for that.
Yeah.
Right.
And we have a few people we're going to talk to about that. It looks pretty sweet. That's something I'm really excited about. All these collaborations, just the possibilities are endless. But I'd like to see, actually, Joe's been putting together, things from leftover wood, wormboard wood, and skateboard wood, like ping pong paddles, chairs, stuff like that. We're sort of like evolving into this, platform to hopefully sell a lot of other things that he's making. And he hands them to me. I'm the one that sands them. And sands and stains. I've got the
parts that I hate.
I'm the homeroom teacher. I've got the patience to sand and stain. So
No
I get
tools.
that part.
No
Yeah.
tools for
Right,
Kemp.
right. Nothing sharp for Kemp.
Yeah. So I mean that's really cool. But for skateboards, like I don't know if we'd ever want to go to like a traditional deck.
My son designed he took my skateboard camp and he designed a deck in the shape of a whale.
Awesome.
And it's so cool. I told him, I'm like, we could start making this and just throw it on the Wormboard website. And he's hand making them, so he's 16. So he'll make it's kind of like original Wormboards. He'll make like one every 3 or 4 months. But yeah, just to throw those on. That's it's super cool. I'll put a picture on our Wormboard website soon.
Yeah.
It is awesome. Like I'm obsessed with whales, so I love it. But I think people like his board. People might like his board better than ours. So a year from now, you might be talking to us about Joe and Kemp from Whale Boards.
That would be pretty dope.
JoJo's Whale Tales.
Nice.
It's not a fluke.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
And we also did a really cool project. We don't have the board because we gave it away for a raffle for breast cancer, and it was one of Joe's connects.
Sophie Binder. Do you know Sophie? TJ?
I've not met Sophie. No.
She's a great maker and woodworker here, and artist, a graphic artist here in St. Louis. She's French, and she is an insane. Like she does these insanely detailed paintings, like where she'll have like this thin veneer of maple and she'll wood burn an entire mountain range or whatever.
I actually may have seen some of her stuff now that you're mentioning that.
She would be great for Sawdust Talk. I might have to put you guys in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we haven't had pyrography artists other than embellishments and stuff like that every once in a while on. So that'd be rad.
And she's amazing.
She wants to do some helmets for us, so we need to talk to her about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have her board on our Instagram. We gave it away and raised some money for her. But she had amazing. Like it was an owl design.
It was a bunch of African animals, so it was mostly the giraffe. But yeah, it was a bunch of animals in the design.
So cool.
She's insanely patient and talented.
Yeah, she'll do chessboards and huge like slabs of wood. It's really cool.
Yeah, you would love her.
Yeah. No, did you guys ever cross paths with Tom Huck when he was at LRQ?
Yeah. So Jim Harper, our drummer, and Tom Huck are like best friends, and Jim's one.
Are they best friends? Best. You should put this live event in air.
There are so many bunnies in that garage, man. That's
I'm gonna go get mittens.
Money goes
we know Tom Huck with the
Tom and his crazy 4x8 woodcut prints that he used to do. I mean, that guy was interplanetary.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Just other St. Louis stuff. He's got to be out on on one of the coasts at this point with his body of work. But yeah, he was a crazy teacher, and I was a screen printer in the early 2000s, and so I crossed paths with a bunch of people who interned and were at WashU with him while I was at Webster. Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
cool. Very cool.
I want to know how much does a worm board cost?
Oh, we're always doing promos. We're gonna do one for Go Skateboarding Day on Saturday, but normally $199. And I'm not
99. 199.
$199. What did I say?
99 cents.
$199. $199.99?
Yeah.
Oh, they're $200. Who knew?
One penny less than $200.
Oh, sorry. But we put because a worm board has never existed, in the skateboard world, you can go buy a deck. And then when you buy a deck, you can go get the trucks you want, the wheels you want, and all the things you want. But since a worm board doesn't exist, there's hard to have trucks that fit the worm board. And to your point, TJ, we've messed around with wider trucks, but you want trucks to kind of fit the board. And we figured we had to partner the trucks with the deck. And if we're partnering the trucks, we might as well partner with some good bearings and some awesome cruiser wheels. So we ended up just doing everything for the board: grip tape, riser pads, everything. So that $199 is everything.
I mean, yeah, they're tricked out with the best trucks, best wheels, and it's sort of like a penny board that's just gonna ride so much better and last longer. Those are made of plastic, I think, and but proud.
If it weren't for the penny board, we wouldn't have had a worm board, because that kid made a penny board out of his deck wood, which allowed me to make the worm board. So we're not, and penny boards are awesome. We're not giving penny boards a hard time. It's just that we're fans of wood and not plastic.
Yeah. Well, and then I don't really think that price is ridiculous. And if you want to Google what the cost of a set of bone Swiss bearings is, since some recent changes in import climate in the United States, the likes of which we don't need to talk about at length. Putting good bearings on a skateboard used to be something that was a bit of a luxury, and now it's become exotic goods. It's just wild, man.
Yeah. And the bearings are key. I didn't know this until I started writing. I mean, you can really tell a difference between the bearings you get online with if you buy wheels on Amazon, but putting Bones Reds, or we use Cadillac bearings with Madrid. I mean, they're so much better.
I would say it's probably the most important thing. When kids want a skateboard and their parents take them to Target and they buy one of those skateboards at Target, and you spin the wheel, it spins for 3 rotations. Those kids are not going to enjoy skateboarding. They're going to hate it, because those skateboards aren't just going to roll. So I think bearings are.
It's all about bearings these days.
It's all about bearings.
What's that from?
I don't know.
Fletch.
Yeah.
Come on.
I actually noticed, for those of you who are going to just listen to the audio of this, we did get to preview some of these boards. And so TJ and I got a visual of them. But I saw Joe spin the wheel on that thing, and I was like, it's still spinning. It's still spinning. It's still spinning.
Yeah.
It was spinning for the longest time while you were just holding it there.
We've turned that into a game now, where we'll challenge people at one of our pop-ups, or last time it was at Urban Chestnut, where we he was on this end and Joe would spin that end, and we're counting down.
If you lasted longer than mine, I'd buy you beer.
Yeah. Yes,
Nice.
that was a lot of fun.
I like it. Very cool. TJ, do you think we should switch gears real quick and do a little?
Yeah, we do need to take a brief break and talk about, I guess we can call it current events. We have our giveaway that we hosted 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago. Who are you people? Where's my horse? What is time? What is space? When did that happen?
It is what it is, but today's the day, and we are going
Today is the day.
The winner for our all-inclusive ticket to the Texas Woodworking Festival in Austin, Texas. This is going to be September 12th, 13th, and 14th. And we hope to see a lot of people there, but one person in particular, very special, and actually wonderful person who has been on this show. And the winner is, do we have a drum roll? The winner of the Texas Woodworking Festival giveaway ticket is Mr. Alex Duffy.
Mr. Alex Duffy.
And what did you say, TJ, when I drew that?
Well, one friend of the show, awesome, and now he can become the mayor of Texas Woodworking Festival as well, and so that is wonderful. May he set up court. May he reign supreme, and I look forward to giving him the biggest high five and a hug when I see him. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. Well, Joe and Kemp, is there anything that you would like to talk about or discuss before we start to wrap up the show that we haven't talked about yet?
Kemper?
Joe. Let's go. We actually, one of our first projects was called Robot Plus Bike, and our first gig was Lou Fest, and we were all really proud of that. But like, we started this kids like kind of alternative indie rock band. I liken it to like Bare Naked Ladies or They Might Be Giants. Just music that like both of our kids grew up listening to, G Love and Ben Harper and Dave Matthews. And we didn't play any of the like traditional nursery rhymes for our kids. We just played music that we liked. And that's what we did on stage. Had a blast. And Joe's got a book of poetry, and I'm a guitar player. So I put this poetry to music. It's fantastic. Robot Plus Bike. You might see a few things from us coming up soon. I want to get together soon. As Joe said, our guitarist passed away, but he would want us to keep playing, and I'm looking forward to, a live event sometime soon. That's what I like to say.
Yeah. We got to get you guys in touch with Electro Dinosaur locally. Also. It's similar vein. Yeah, you guys actually have probably crossed paths with them. We'll talk about it after the show. That's Patreon goods right there for all of you people who are like, what do we get to see on Patreon? I don't know, maybe conversations about local nonsense and Electro Dinosaur.
Electric Dinosaur?
Yeah, Electro Dinosaur.
Done.
Yeah.
We have an album on all the platforms. We've made about $13 on Spotify, iTunes.
We've made tens of dollars.
Yeah. The album's been on for like 5 years. It's Robot Plus Bike. Superfluous has 700 views on YouTube.
No, it's over 1,000 now.
Is it? Okay.
Our top single is called Superfluous, and it's about like a superhero town where everybody's super, so they're kind of superfluous. I don't know. We like our stuff.
But I mean, we did it right. We went to a studio and made an EP, and it was a lot of fun, and it's out there and looking to do some more at some point. So
yeah, I think the only other thing I would like to say is I think that just the people that you guys have on your show and celebrating this maker world, I think is so important, especially like, even though we're all watching it on our devices, I think it's so important for people to get off their devices and use their hands and take time doing something and go through all the pains and struggles and joys of the entire process. So like, I appreciate you guys for really celebrating this group of people or this maker world, and I think that everybody needs to be a part of it. Everyone needs to have a hobby. Everyone needs to use their hands. Everybody needs to get off their devices and do.
Yeah,
love it. Okay, we got to do one rapid fire lap through sponsors real quick, and then we will fire off our last question of the show. And you guys have been briefed, so I don't get to surprise you with anything fun. But one more shout out to Surf Prep Sanding Systems. Some of you may think that you know a thing or two about a fine finish or getting sanding done down in the nooks and crannies, Kemp, I'm looking at you. Surf Prep abrasives, actually, they offer a foam back abrasive that fits flawlessly onto their 3x4 wiggle sander. It is awesome. Especially if you're like trying to get paint off a trim or redoing furniture and stuff like that. Really, really cool stuff. So check that out, surfprep.com, save some money. Coupon code Sawdust Talk. Casey Bombshell is where I would go if I was looking to maybe find myself like a 5XL hoodie so that I could put a zipper across the bottom of it and cinch myself into it like a little Sawdust Talk branded meatball. That's where I would go to find that. And then get involved with Makers for St. Jude. Makers for St. Jude is awesome. We love being affiliated. We love what we've done. It's pretty amazing to see a community of makers rally behind something that is so universally good to fight, right? Let's pool our resources, let's pool our talents, let's take our cool stuff and do great things for people who need our help. Go check out Woodworker versus Cancer or the Makers for St. Jude project. You can Google it. You can find it on Instagram. It's in all the places. Look it up. And then, if you want to find out a little bit more about Electro Dinosaurs and what it's like doing the music scene and the beer scene in St. Louis, maybe you can find that on Patreon. It's only $5 a month. Go check it out. Patreon Sawdust Talk. That brings us to the final question, which is every week, last question of the show, we ask our guests to come up with a motivational thought or a quote or a reason to open the door to your shop or to go make a mess or pick up a tool or maybe try something that you haven't done before or just generally get awesome. And because we have two guests tonight, you guys get bonus time. I'm asking both of you. So I don't care if it's Walt Whitman or you just want to whistle the theme from the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. I don't care. What answers, boys? What would you like to share with our audience?
I have one.
You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll just share what my favorite woodworker and maker is Doug Stowe, and he ends most of his posts. If you ever read his blog, The Wisdom of the Hands, he ends every post with "Make, Fix, Create," and I think everybody should be out there making, fixing, and creating, and not being fearful of mistakes and anything else. Just make and fix and create.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, thanks.
I like that.
Do you want to borrow it? You can say the same thing.
Yeah. Well, mine's sort of along those lines. It's make, fix, create, and if it breaks, you can make it again. I had a woodworking teacher named Miss Baduris, and she used to tell the story about her woodworking teacher in the 40s or 50s that she was like 6 or 7 years old, and she made like a horse out of wood, and he broke it in half, and he said, if you can do this once, you can do it again. And for some reason that it was such a harsh thing for a teacher to do, but she told us that story and didn't do that to us, but it stuck with me. And I think about that, I'm making something and it takes me forever to do and I ruin it somehow. The second time almost comes out better. So I think that's something that has always stuck with me. And thank you, Mrs. Baduris.
Yeah, I'm not Mrs. Baduris.
But I saw her again after 30 years, and I told her that story, and she's just like, I said what? She didn't remember. I was like, I think about that daily. One of those things where it just is so formative as a child. You think about it often. That's one of them. So.
Well, Kemp, don't tell Joe, but that was very sharp. I really liked that.
You like that one?
You're not allowed to have that comment again.
Wow, okay. Well, you guys are pretty incredible. I hope that you get some follows from this. I hope that people come to find you and find worm boards. Do you want to share where people can find you and befriend you and buy cool things from you?
Yes.
Yeah, we have a GeoCities website.
No,
we don't. We're on wormboards.com.
Yeah.
And on Instagram at wormboards.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
And then we'll be at Evolution Fest. We'll be in Bluewood eventually soon.
We're gonna make that happen.
And yeah, that's it. But we would love to thank you guys for having us. This has been awesome.
Yeah.
So TJ, Jessie, thank you so much.
Of
I
course.
can't wait to see more.
Totally. Yeah, and so we're gonna wear you down, Joe. We're gonna get you out to Maker Camp so you can have
That
fun with
sounds
all
great.
the cool kids. And Camp, you can come too, I guess.
I'll be this guy. Hey, can you sand this?
Who knows, man? Maybe you'll get your hand on a forge and a hammer, and the lightning will
Ooh.
strike.
Boy, can't wait.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming on. We will see all of you, listeners, viewers, watchers, and participants next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Bye, guys.